You're building snow castles in our boat again.
Do you want to build a snowman?
Muffin! Muffin!
Now we're putting a hook in for the first time in our first fjord, so I'm like, alright, game face on.
Adam wants to embrace the windfall method while he's in Iceland.
Got some gnarly katabatic winds coming up this valley.
It's snowing in Iceland! Actually, more specifically, it's snowing on the Millennial Falcon in Iceland. And more specific than that, Adam has been grinding fiberglass again, so it's just pretty much all white in our aft cabin right now, our bedroom, in order to replace our autopilot bracket that broke while we're underway. Are you building snow castles in our boat again?
Do you want to build a snowman?
Yep, I see it. It's all on there.
Don't pretend like you didn't have, just because you're clean today, don't pretend like you didn't contribute to this. As good as it's going to get in Iceland, wouldn't you agree?
The snow, I agree, yes.
No, the snow's going to get worse. It's about as good as it's going to get. We've got no shortage of plywood. We're out of glass and resin, and what we've managed to find has been sort of, not perfect. So the job, I mean, it's more than strong enough. It's a damn size stronger than what broke before, so it'll survive until we can get somewhere where the going is a bit better for glass and resin, and then we'll pretty it up a little bit and paint it and do all that stuff. Sounds like a good winter job. What we've done is pretty simple. It's just two pieces about 20mm of ply, glassed over with all the resin, all the fiberglass we have, biaxial and chopped strand, and thickened epoxy, and we've sort of cut a template out of cardboard to match the taper of the hull, put the board in, and then tabbed it in, then glassed over it. Pretty standard stuff. And the way it's going to fit is essentially we've just built a little baby bulkhead, a little baby buttress into the hull, and the arm for the autopilot will bolt into that in exactly the same place where the mild steel bracket was in previously, and it'll be just as it was.
We all done then?
Well, it works. I mean, we just tested it. Tested the stops, tested the autopilot function, and it held up. So yeah, it's actually rock solid, to be honest with you. Like, it's really beefy. It isn't pretty, I'll give you that. If you're in the comment section and you're like, that's horrible, it's the ugliest fiberglass work I've ever seen, I'm with you. But it's what we can get, it's what we had on board, what we could get here, and it is what it is. And then the real test will be when we're out sailing. I'll we'll put a couple of 100 miles on it, or put a couple of hours of motoring and sailing and whatever. That's that done. Now honestly, the cleanup's going to take longer than what I did today, which was just put these brackets in.
Into our stay here in Reykjavik. We've gone exploring and all that, and now it's time to actually go exploring to the islands. So just come out to the marina. It's a glorious day. Like, it's literally been glorious for the last 4 or 5 days, maybe even a week. Our first stop will be a fjord that's close to here, which I'm going to get Adam to say the name of because I'm not entirely sure. So it's not too far though. Now, I could not say the name of this fjord, so what is it?
Oh, the fjord?
Yes, that we're going to.
I know the part of the fjord is called Haversvik. It's
Adam's been learning Icelandic.
No, I haven't.
So
my friend Kuyong's been telling me like all the names, but he says them so fluently, just like and it's just and he'll usually see me go no, and so he goes, oh, it means whale fjord. So that's what this one is called. It's called Whale Fjord. It's not far. It's about it's probably 10 miles from Reykjavik, and on this exact course, like it's a real simple run, and then it's another, let's call it 15 miles down the fjord.
it's actually nice to have full sail up when we were on the way over here. It was either motoring, in which case we had to put the jib back in so that we only had the main so that things don't flap when you motor, or we'd have like many reefs in because it was bloody blowing a gale. So it's nice to have like full sails out. What speed are we doing?
You don't want to know. 2.7.
2.7. Good thing that we have 3 hours to go 6 miles. We will actually make it.
We're dead on schedule.
We're on schedule. Yay.
It's only 7 knots of wind, 6 knots of wind, so basically nothing.
It's good enough.
Puffin sighting. There we go.
Oh, and after that...
Box checked. Not really. I want to see it closer. Get back here. Get back here, Puffin. I scared him away with all my like, Puffin. He was like, woo.
I didn't even get Adam's reaction either. He's like, look at his little wings.
It's so cute. Oh, yes, that was a puffin. So there's 2 types of birds. Well, there's more than 2 types of birds. But there's another bird here that looks a lot like a puffin that we keep it like, puffin. No, and it's got a much longer beak. Alright, we've just made the A-turn into our first Icelandic fjord. Hvalfjordur. That's how you say it. That's how you say it. So the wind is it's 5-6 knots, and it's going to swing around, or it is coming around behind us as we make the turn. It's probably going to fail us, to be honest. Downwind in 6 knots is probably going to be like 4 apparent, if not less, which has us doing about 2 knots, if that. So the motor's probably coming on for the home stretch, but we'll sail as much as we can. The tide is against us, so we're waiting for the tide to turn in another 42 minutes. So we will have timed this quite well, actually.
So we're just pulling in now. It looks like there is one other sailboat there that was also in the marina yesterday. So it looks like, I'm gonna say this must be a popular spot in Iceland to have one other boat.
It's our first time anchoring in Iceland, so I'm like, for some reason I'm like, okay, now we're really here. You know, you pull straight into a marina, you tie everything up, and you can sort of switch off from sailing. And now we've just done a little sail and a bit of motoring, and now we're putting a hook in for the first time in our first fjord. So I'm like, all right, game face on. We've got this much water, we've got the tide doing this, the wind's going that way, what's the weather doing for the next couple of days? All these things. I'm like, whoa, I've no idea what the bottom's going to be like. My friend, I drove through here about a week ago with a friend when I was getting the plywood for the repair on the autopilot, and I got to lay eyes on it. So I sort of have the lay of the land, and if I remember correctly, he did say it's not bad. It's not bad holding. It's kind of like sandy bottom, and if you look at the shorelines, you can see it's like rocky sand. Typical though, we had nothing, like the most wind we've seen the entire way here has been 10 knots. and we round the headland and now it's like 17, 18, 19 knots. It's typical.
Oh, I have to do a snubber. What's a snubber? I haven't done that for a while. Man, this landscape is just... It's already stuck! It's already stuck, ads! Alright, I'm going back to the wheel! The chain was all stuck in the anchor locker.
Well, we're here. We got the hook in off. Well, yeah, it's in. What a malarkey, and it's still going on. All I can describe is the chain is essentially like it's been put through the washing machine, and it's just a complete and utter bird's nest. So we got, you know, 50, 60 feet of chain out, and then it just got caught completely. So I ran downstairs and started trying to free it up. So I managed to wrestle enough chain to the point where the boat dug in and we got appropriate scope out, but honestly, like, I can't, like, you have to see the tangle to believe it.
You actually had to undo the bitter end because
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I had to take the board off the bitter end because somehow the chain had got into there and was all tangled up in the road. If it pipes up and you do start dragging with, you know, whatever scope you have out, your first reaction should be to let out some more chain and see if you can stop the drag. We cannot do that right now, so we need to square that away. Bird's nest. This is the finished bit. Like
this is the very, very last, like, 50 feet. Ugh. And Adam's had to sort this times by 3 out. This is insane. I don't even know where to start, you know? Beer watching duties. Beer watching? I mean, anchor watching with
anchor beer. Oh, what a spot. That's definitely the picturesque side.
Oh,
and
hey,
it is kind of
what
magic.
About you?
My point stands. And it's kind of magic hour at the moment too. It's pretty clear night. Magic hour being low sun. It's lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely.
Puffin. Gotta get a shot of that puffin. We keep calling out puffin and then never actually seeing one. Squirrel is the American thing, Washington DC, that makes me distracted every time I see a squirrel.
In a sense, like we're in a squirrel. For a half a kilometre and you've done 3 times now. Squirrel!
Turtle is the Caribbean version of that. Every time we see a turtle, we just stop mid-sentence and go, oh, it's a turtle, it's a turtle. And then I think puffin is going to be the Icelandic version of that. Puffin! Typical. On the way here, so I've got a message from a friend here, and he's like, guess what's just happened? Kid you not, an hour out of Reykjavik, and a volcano has erupted, probably about an hour away from Reykjavik. But we were waiting, like we've been feeling tremors, earthquake tremors, like there have been thousands, or at least hundreds of them every day. And we felt a really, really big one yesterday, which was 5, okay, a really, really big one, which was 5 on the Richter scale. And we knew that it was coming, but we didn't quite know when this volcano would erupt, or if it would erupt. An hour after we left, an hour after we were able to easily rent a car and go and visit this volcano. Ugh, so annoying.
Sorry, Iceland, the volcano erupted because we left. If we hadn't sat there waiting for it to erupt, nothing would have happened. And of all the times for it to erupt, like it's happened twice in the last 2 years. Once for a couple of weeks or a couple of months in the year, and like, how good is it that we're here and it's just gone up just as we sort of find our feet and sort of hit the ground running. It's great. It's really good.
Okay, we are here in
Karlsfjord.
Hemsvik. So we're here in a fjord.
So we're here in Vamsvik. It's a pretty nice anchorage. It was really calm when we arrived, and it's been going kind of round and round the wind all day because we're in a fjord and it funnels in and funnels out. But the boat's holding pretty well, so we're going to go ashore because there is a geothermal spring there, which is one of the draw cards for this anchorage. We're going to go check it out and hopefully get the first hot bath in a week.
We only left the marina yesterday.
One of us might.
Adam wants to embrace the Wim Hof method while he's in Iceland, which for those of you who don't know is a 3-minute plunge into cold water every day. I will not be joining him on this endeavour.
We're better in Iceland. I don't think it's 3 minutes.
I don't know. Good luck! I wasn't lying when I said I'm just going to stay in this pool. I'm not going in that water. Oh, my arm is cold just holding the GoPro out of the water. You must be freezing. I know for a fact it's 12.5 degrees in there because of the, on our boat you can see the temperature of the water. How was that?
Pins and needles all over.
How was your cold water dip?
It completely knocks the air out of you.
Your whole body's red.
You basically just hyperventilate. You're like, your feet go numb and everything goes numb, and then eventually you actually do get this really like, just this numbness all over where you're like, oh, and it stops. And then you're alright.
You did last in there about a minute, so well done. Did it feel longer?
I took a time. I was determined to do a minute.
Well done. Alright, well, all done there. Very, very refreshing. Back to the boat now. We think we might move tomorrow. Maybe. We're undecided what we're going to do tomorrow. There's the option...
The volcano. The volcano's
yeah.
erupted, but they've closed it off, so we sort of want to stay nearby, but we don't, and then there's some bad weather coming on Thursday, Friday. It's now...
Anyway,
yeah,
we'll decide...
lots of constraints.
When we've decided, you'll be the first to know.
Windy.
Very windy. Yep. Just left the bay that we were in. As soon as we rounded the corner outside of our protection, it's like windy. It's like 30 knots, I'm just saying. Hopefully it's just funneling from here downwards, and when we actually get out into the open water, it'll be a bit more stable. Fingers crossed. Else this was a very bad day to leave.
Got some gnarly katabatic winds coming up this valley, and the wind is kicking off some really quite angry little short stack swell right on the beam, so it's a wet and wild ride. We're just motoring. I know, motoring is bad and all that, but I don't really fancy sailing around in enclosed waters when it's gusting to 40 knots when I don't have to.
We've already strapped down the solar panel because it wasn't going to survive. So this one fatality, well, he wasn't fatal.
Got it just before it turned fatal.
Yeah, exactly.
Now we're flying downwind. I just swung around on the sort of home stretch out the fjord, which is where the wind is funneling, so we're a little bit smoother now. We should be taking a bit less water over the back. Oh, it's cold today. Really, really cold today. So we've just come out of the fjord. We're maybe 5 miles from the opening. So it's the first time we've been able to lay eyes on the rough area where the volcano is. And yeah, you can see it from here. You can see the plume. It's insane. We're just on the phone trying to see if it's open, because they closed it down like the day that it went up because of the poisonous gases, and they need time to sort of bulldoze in trails and make sure it's all safe. So that was expected to take a couple of days. So we were sort of planning to go up to the West Fjords, or rather go up to the next peninsula, which is about 60 miles away. And then if and when they open the volcano area, we'd get a car and drive back to it. So that's still the plan. But if Kiara finds out in the next sort of half an hour that they've opened it, we might just nip back to Reykjavik where we were, put the boat to bed really quick and grab a car and go up there. So I can't believe you can see it from here. Like, I wasn't expecting it to be quite like that.
Well, after much umming and ahhing, much research, we have made the decision to head back to where we were, to the marina where we were in Reykjavik, and pull in there. It's a bit of crappy weather coming for a few days, so we'll pull in there and rent a car during those days. And we will go and visit the volcanic eruption, provided that it's safe to go and do so.